Hi everyone, welcome back to Buy Triple. So in today's video, as promised the last time, we are going to continue with HTML tables. I will show you how to create a table. So I have an example here already of what we are going to do. The table we are going to create would look like. So this is an example of an HTML table. So this particular table was created using HTML and simple uh, CSS to style this table. So that's what we are going to be achieving in this video. So in websites, you see that some blog pages or blog websites have different contents. Most of those contents sometimes are structured using tables, and those tables are created, by writing simple HTML code to make them possible. So that's what you're going to be doing, and I will simply want us to head to our code editor and get into the practical. To start with, let's just call this a HTML table for the title, and we can now come here to write the appropriate program. So let me uncomment this paragraph that states what we are actually doing. If we refresh, we can see it now on the page. So so a table is made up of rows, columns, shells. And when we talk about shells in a table, this is an example of what a shell is in a table. So a single box like this is called a shell in a table. This box, they are all shells. So this particular table is made up of 1, 2, 3, 4 times 3. That's 12 shells within this table. So a table is made up of a shell, and the shell simply contains the data within that particular table. So let's start, and to achieve this, we are going to be using the table tag in HTML. So we start by typing table, then within the table we are going to state the table header just the way it is stated on this in the image. There's an header here that states the name, age, and country. So we go by typing and stating that this particular header is going to be within the header tag. So we state table header, and within the header we now have the content of that particular header. So we say name, and the next one is going to be age. So th will be age, and the next is going to be I think country, right? So country. So these are the headers of this particular table, and they are actually structured based on the content within them. So we are going to, I want to, indent this properly so they can have a better look of the data. It doesn't look, so it's not looking upward. So we have this structured like this, and this is going to be like this. Now, this is the header. If we refresh this page, I'm sure you are going to see something upward, but we are just going to continue. Okay, now we have this name, age, country. So the next thing is to actually style this table. So we have proper spacing for the O table. So we say that we give this particular table a width of 100%. So we want this table to take a full width of the page. So that's why we say 100%. And okay, and when we control S, now we space it, the table is spaced out. Okay, now moving forward, we are going to now put in all the data or the necessary data within the table. So let's start with the first row, table row, and within this row we have the table data, and within the data we are going to say the first header states the name. So let me say Simon as the name. The next is going to be the age. So for you to speed up the process, we can simply duplicate each of these HTML tags. So you just shift hot arrow down, then you can shift hot arrow down again, and now you can duplicate these tags. So the next one is the age, let's say 25, And the last one, which is the word country, let's say Nigeria. I'm a Nigerian. Nigeria, proudly African. Nigeria. And now if we save, refresh, and our data is organized within this particular table, we can duplicate this row and have multiple rows just the way we have it on that image, and we just change the data within the table data. So we can call this James, and same age, let's say Ghana. Okay, and let's another name would be David, same age, the same country, and when we refresh, the data is duplicated and um, different rows on each of them having their shells. Let's just make sure the figures are not the same, so that it doesn't look too unfamiliar. We can Control S, refresh, and the data are changed. Now, what we can still do is to make sure is to give you some styling. Now we come here and style the table within our HTML style elements, which is by calling the the elements, I mean the tag of the table, the general table itself, and within the table we have the table role and the table header. Now we can now open a curly brace and state that we want this particular table to have a border of 1 pixels solid orange, so that we can see how the lines, how the shells have been aligned within this particular, because right now they are plain. There are no borders to actually tell us this is a table. So if we now let's leave it at that. Okay, and when we refresh, we can now see that each of these have their shells. So what we can do now is to change this to a table data, to table data, so that each data within the table we have their own border as well, so we can see the shell properly. So Control S, and now we can see that we have a replica of this particular table, and even as is looking more more beautiful than this, and we have better color and what have you. So this is how you create a simple basic table in HTML. In our next class, I'm going to be moving more into an advanced way of creating HTML tables. So today we're able to learn how to create tables, starting with the HTML tag table, followed by the HTML tag table header, followed by the table row and table data. So each of them have their functions, and I will just want you to go through this again, rewind the video to see where you are not sure, and refresh your mind on it. So until next time, keep learning, keep coding, and always remember, small bites makes a big impact. See you next time. Bye bye.